Very good evening to all. Thanks for inviting Economic Times. This is a design thinking. I am not going to get into whether it is implemented or not implemented. Just an open kind of a discussion over here. And when we say it's a one cloud, I am not going to talk about whether it is a Amazon or Microsoft Azure kind of a thing. Because being an armed forces, we don't have the access to those kind of a technologies. And simply we can't sit idle and wait for something to come on board. Rather than waiting for Amazon to come to our armed forces, which will take many more years to come. And let's build our own one cloud. Here the traditional sense, the one cloud may not be the way the corporate defines the way it is a one cloud. It may be a little bit different. Let's see that. What is the purpose of building the one cloud? It is not for the sake of building the one cloud, but there is a very purpose, and let's what we define. It is an application to reach the end user in all circumstances in the most optimized manner. When we say it's applications, in Coast Guard or in general, the lot of applications, of course, we need. And the challenge here is that end users. The end users, due to our circumstances, our nature of way of working, and the application has to reach them. How we are going to make it happen? And the most optimist manner is obvious. There are a lot of challenges we have being in the government organization and the armed forces. Nothing great here, because applications are application, just for the sake of putting. It could be ERP, it could be SOA application, it could be any application. The forthcoming technologies, AI, ML, you name it, we are having in our organization. And for that matter, we are one of the largest coastal network in the world, and we are the only one. Not even America, not even Korea, not even Pakistan, you can call. And those kind of technologies we are implementing, the lot of challenges also we are facing in parallel. And where the applications are very common, which is very familiar to you, what makes little bit different is where the end users are sitting here. Here, every 50 kilometer or 100 kilometer across the coastal area, the Indian Coast Guard has a presence. It's more than 50, in fact. We are going to more than 100 locations across, you name it, Andaman Islands or Lakshadweep Islands. We are having the presence over there. And the 24/7 surveillance, of course, it is going to more than 100 ships. It is keep on patrolling across the coastal area. And there are more than 80 aircrafts are flying at any given point of time. That is a kind of surveillance is built over the India. And of course, how we are going to build the application over this kind of a variable environment. And the network, and one of the challenges what we are having is that offline mode disconnected. When the ships are at sea, there is network connectivity is not assured. Application it has to reach that. And the fixed bases, moving platform, internet side, you name it, all kind of challenges we have. Just to give you a quick review on the challenges. One of the major challenges is offline survivability. Because one of the case, if you say that whenever that Chennai flood happened, when the Mumbai flood happened, it is Indian Coast Guard which is part of the National Disaster Management System, and we used to be on the forefront. That time the connectivity is not assured. Still, our forces has to work on the ground. And that air gap, because of being the armed forces in India, we have to maintain the air gap. That means absolutely we have no connectivity to the internet. Even the talent which is there outside, they cannot get into our network. So this is the biggest challenge what we have, and it will be like that for next many years to come. And the skilled manpower, of course, being the government organization, we are not going to pay you people, say, 15 lakh or 20 lakh rupees per month. It is rolled out. So we have to live with the limitation, one of the major challenge, in fact. And that very funny thing, it's a power supply issues. When we are having so much of small data center across the India, the power supply is very notorious. For example, the Port Blair. If you are going for Andaman Nicobar Island, I think people should visit over there. Sending the SMS is a luxury at the Port Blair, because the power supply, it is running on the diesel generators, and the power supply is not guaranteed. How you are going to build a edge cloud at the places when there is no power and no guarantee of power? And of course, budget. What we are going to get is, what is the spend pattern for last 2 years, add 10% blindly, and carry forward the next year. So this is the kind of issues any government organization having. We are not exempted to that one. And the long government procurement process. By the time you plan something, it goes 6 months. Technology may get obsolete, people may change, other challenges. And of course, unreliable network. When the ships at sea, even the cloud formation can disrupt the network. And of course, technologies keep on changing. And sizing of infra. When you're talking about the machine learning, artificial intelligence, it is very difficult to predict for the, what kind of sizing is required for the infra. So that we have to go for the elasticity or scalability. Okay. What is the design objective? Once we have seen the challenges, the design objectives, one of the top most challenging is the business continuity. Business has to run. In our case, it's business is not like corporate, of course. It's saving the people and saving the country. And the measurable RTO, RPO. Because a lot of technologies, a lot of marketing jargons, which we don't understand very clearly. What we understand is very simple and straightforward. Whether if something goes wrong, please tell me how much time it will take to revert back, whether it's a 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So we have to measure at any given point of time. And of course, high availability, flexible infrastructure is a known issue since the time is very limited. And how we are addressing the problem as a very higher level architectural point of view. So that it is when you say it's a one cloud, it is a one data. Of course, one data doesn't mean that it is every application is using the same data. It is a virtual one data, so that we are not encouraging any silos. Data should not be in silo. Everything should be interconnected. And of course, one infrastructure and one application. People may wonder that what is a one application. One application, not necessarily we are going to build a one monolithic application which can run everything. As the professor rightly told, even building a single unified ERP itself will be very challenging. So the context of one application is not exactly one application, that I will cover at later stage. And of course, one security. So what is our approach over there? So any application, whether it is a web apps or it is a payroll application or it is a API service, whatever it may be, the certain things are very common, where data, software infrastructure, hardware, security, and support. If this is the case, why we cannot aggregate one, why we cannot bring a single platform, let the application to be very separate. So that was the thought process over there. And of course, it's a how we are solving the problem at the edges or the cloud. Everyone knows about that. SDDC, hyper-converged appliances, and composable. I will skip the slide. And one thing I can tell is that the software defined everything. One of the issues, the government tender process, or that technologies keep on changing, so that we cannot get into the vendor locking kind of a situation. The hardware remain as a white labeled hardware. It is the software which matters. And once we define the objective, what could be the success criteria? Because we should know what is success criteria, makes that entire initiative, it sees that final one. Of course, it's a single class span of monitoring of most of the, whether it is a deep provisioning or it is a monitoring or the where it knows zero dependency on the local manpower. Because across the India, when you're going to the remote locations, the manpower issue is the biggest issue. So that when we are achieving that zero dependency, then we can say actually we are a little bit, we are a success in our dream run. Single class span is quick look, and wherever that industry offers readily available, we are going to accommodate that. And if you see that InfoSec monitoring is available, Edge Cloud is available, nothing great here. But the center monitoring, where the industry doesn't give today. So that we are building our own, already it is built and it is running successfully. And coming to the Edge Cloud, so this is the one thing which we designed for our own. Since the industry doesn't have the kind of, what kind of architecture we are having, today we don't have, we could not find in the industry. So that we started to design our own, what we call as the zero-touch robo. It is a full-fledged data center. Of course, at the very remote location, with absolute no dependency on the local manpower. So that's the thing. And this is the combination of stacks which made it possible. Of course, the IoT plays a very major role for us. And it's a SCI, SD-WAN. Of course, this is something which I would like to say. Building an infrastructure is not a big problem. Industry is having. So bringing up the middleware, when that we are handling that internet site and offline connectivity and the central location, and having the single one data concept, and the replication is a major challenge. So this we are addressing with the middleware, it's a common middleware, where all the applications will be running on the single common platform as a design approach. And of course, business continuity. and software-defined security. We are not going for any appliance kind of a thing. With the limited experience, what we found is that doesn't actually work because of some limitations. And I'm taking only 2 examples of the dashboard. One, if industry offers, we take it. This is one classical example of business continuity, which is of screenshot from the Veeam. It's a Veeam software, which initially we are using for the business continuity. And if the dashboard is not available, actually we build our own. Suppose scattered across the India, we don't have any solution today available, so that we started to work on our own, and we come up with our own software application, which actually was to oversee across the India all the edge cloud computing in a single screen. Because of we are not going to have that high-level IT skilled manpower, so 1 or 2 manpower sitting in the central location, he should be able to see what is happening across the India. So that is a very higher-level objective over here. And the entire journey was possible because of that we are very few officers in Coast Guard, and for that matter, we are not from the IT background. I am from the electrical, and all of my colleagues and my senior officers, and we don't have any IT cadre as such. So that we solely depend upon the industry strength. So thankfully, the people, whatever shown here, the R&D team, the technical people, with the passion, they are working with us directly from the OEM. Without their support, of course, it is impossible to do. And we can take special thanks to Railtel. I think Sir is here, I hope so. And thank you, sir. I think the Railtel is giving excellent support, I think we could say. And they are giving the backbone for the entire Coast Guard, connecting to the entire India. I think we should be thankful for them forever. And there should be some principles which we discovered, not from the industry, since we don't have very close access to the industry. Most of the time we may reinvent the wheel, we know it. What are the few principles make it this much as possible? Any enterprise application, be it anything, it must have that RESTful API it should expose. And all the applications, let it be anything, that must be compliant to the SOA architecture. And that should have the facility for the microservices. That's because microservices is very WAN friendly with our limited experience. And every stack must have aggregation to the single glass pane of monitoring. If it is not there, we are not going for it. And of course, no overlapping. But what we found is a lot of overlapping is happening between the different software system, and that we are trying to avoid it. And of course, it's common. And this is one thing, no vendor locking, because the tender process doesn't permit, because the procurements are happening throughout the year, and we can't stuck with the only particular brand or particular technology. And just a final conclusion, I have left with the 2 minutes. And the conclusion, whatever our vision, we thought of bringing it in a single slide, and that the statement remains same, application to reach the end users in all circumstances in most optimized manner. So if this is the India, and we are placing that hardware across the India wherever possible, data center, zero-touch robo, and it could be ships, it is on the aircraft, it is on the base unit, whether it is a Andaman, like forest, wherever it might be, that we already positioned. And that all the hardwares are connected through whatever the physical network is available, you name it. It's a 3G, or it's a high-frequency HF, or it's a VHF, or it's a MPLS, it's a VSATA. And we are having all the length and breadth of all the network connectivity, which is getting connected to all the hardware. And that is getting abstracted by the SD-WAN. On top of that, that SD-WAN helps us to abstract the entire complexity underlying. And once that SD-WAN is completed, we are able to aggregate that entire compute across the India. Because when we are moving forward the big data kind of stuff, we can't afford to lose that hardware which is available at every location. And once that infrastructure is available, then we deployed that one middleware. And the middleware, the stack itself, it's a quite complex stack. It's already deployed. I'm not going into the detail of that, how it is getting built. And finally, all the layer below this one will not be having any manpower, only one command center which will be overseeing everything, be it a software, be it a hardware, be it a security, only one under the one roof, the entire team should be able to do this one. And finally, the hero of the entire IT automation is the application. So that then only the one application can sit on the one cloud on top of it. This is what is our vision. We are almost close to achieving the final one. I done? So 15 minutes. Thank you.